G'day guys, Dean here from Blog for the Blood God, and we've all seen those people and sometimes been those people ourselves where we blame the dice on the results of our games. Well, what I want to talk to you about today is why you should never do that again, and some of the amazing benefits that you can get for your player skill and your own player development when you stop blaming the dice. So with that being said, let's get into the video, but before we do, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell, because if you don't hit that bell, you're not going to get my videos show up in your feed. YouTube's algorithm doesn't really care about subscribers these days, it really only cares about the notification bell. So make sure you hit that bell and enjoy the video.
Blog for the Blood God.
G'day guys, nice quick video for you today on something that I think is a really important message and a really important lesson for people who play competitive 40k, but people who just play 40k in general and are looking to get better and improve their results. And that is a simple philosophy of never ever blaming luck again. Now, I'm not denying that luck has a heavy impact on the results of your games of Warhammer 40k. And luck comes in many forms. Like, yes, it's a dice game, but there's also the luck of the draw, who you get paired into, who your opponent is in a tournament, you know, like generally the first round is completely randomized, so you could end up playing against anybody. And then other rounds will be based on your rankings, but will still be relatively random. They're outside of your control, and therefore you're beholden to luck. But the thing about that is it's completely out of your control, yes, and there are certain matchups that will be more favorable to you and certain matchups that will be more challenging, yes, that is all true. But if you start blaming things on luck, you start sort of taking the responsibility away from yourself and putting it in the hands of something that you can't control, and that's a problem. So the same goes for, you know, the dice game. And a lot of people will say, oh, you throw so many dice over the course of a game that on average, you know, you're going to roll average, more or less, right? You know, if you roll one dice, then, you know, the probability of you rolling above or below average is almost certain. But if you roll 1,000 and then sum them all and then divide it by 1,000, you're going to find that you rolled 3.5. You know, you're going to roll the average result, because the more numbers you add, the more dice you roll, the more that bell curve sort of flattens out to a degree and becomes, you know, very reliable. The challenge with that is that sometimes it is one dice that will determine the outcome of a game. It could be as simple as the dice roll to see who goes first or second. You know, half the time you're going to go first, the other half the time you're going to go second. So there's no average to be achieved here. It's binary. You either get it or you don't. So that single dice roll, which is completely out of your control, completely beholden to luck, can have a really heavy impact on your results and your placings, whether or not you want to go first or want to go second, or more accurately, whether you need to go first or whether you need to go second in order to win a game. Then that's going to be really important and critical role. However, just like I said with the pairings, is the second you start blaming that luck on your results, you defer that responsibility from yourself and you place it on something that you can't control. And when you do that, you're denying yourself the opportunity to grow, and you're denying yourself the opportunity to learn from the mistakes that you may have made that were in your control. So there's countless examples of where luck can really punish you in games, and the temptation to blame luck for your loss is really strong. However, what I want to propose to you is that instead of blaming luck, look at the situations that you found yourself in that meant luck was so important. So let's use the example of going first or going second, right? If you look at that and go, cool, well, I need to go first to win based on the matchup, right? So maybe you're playing against, you know, a Tau gun line, and you're an Imperial Guard gun line, and you're on a table with no terrain, right? And you look at it and you're like, wow, whoever goes first is just going to win, because they're just going to shoot the other person's dick off, and then it's game over. So you're like, okay, whoever goes first wins. I got unlucky and lost the roll-off, so my opponent went first and killed me, right? You could look at that and through the lens of blaming luck, and you could go, I got unlucky, that's why I lost. I would argue, however, the reason that you lost is because you designed a list that would lose if it went up against a tower gun line and the tower gun line went first. So what you should be doing is you should be going, well, how can I design a list that doesn't really care if it goes first or second? You know, and I did a video breaking down this very specific thing about some of the things that you can do in order to, you know, shore up that weakness and make it so that you've got an advantage in either direction. So yeah, you can definitely work with that and you can do things to sort of mitigate those challenges. But that's an example of going, okay, instead of blaming luck, I'm going to actually take agency here and I'm going to go, this is something that's in my control. It's not luck, it's me. I can write a list that is going to have things in strategic reserves, for example. So when my opponent goes first, it's like they can't shoot me because I'm not on the table. I'm going to have things that are in really tough transports that are out of line of sight. So cool, they can't shoot me, they can't blow me up, you know. Various things like that will, you know, make it so that you're taking agency and responsibility for that result. You know, the same goes for, you know, all kinds of things. If you're particularly weak into the Tyranid matchup, for example, right? And you get paired into Tyranids 2-3 times at an event and you just keep getting fucking destroyed by them. And you're like, this is bullshit. I only lost because Tyranids are too strong. I only lost because I got paired into Tyranids, which was random. And that's why I lost. And if you had got paired into Tyranids, you would have lost as well, and blah, 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 right? If you take that route, you're not actually addressing the issue. You're deferring the issue onto luck. And instead what you should be doing is going, okay, instead of looking at what you can't do, like you can't control the matchups, you can't control your pairings, you can't control the power of various codexes. There's nothing you can do to make Tyranids less OP, right? So instead of looking at the things that you can't do, just fucking ignore them because you can't do anything about them. What you need to do is stop blaming the luck and start going, what can I do? I control what faction I play. I can control what lists I bring, what units I bring. I can control the strategies that I employ. I can control the amount of time that I spend practicing for games. You know, you might go, cool, I keep losing to Tyranids. Well, find somebody that plays Tyranids and try to get as many practice games with them as you can before any given tournament, and try out as many different combos as you can before going to that tournament. And that way you're going to eventually find a way that you can beat them, because no faction is unbeatable, no faction is unassailable. So focusing more on your internal ability to control certain situations necessarily would result in a mindset of growth and a mindset of problem solving instead of problem deferring. And if you just continue to defer your problems onto, it was just bad luck, then you're very rarely going to grow. You know, and there's infinite examples of this. Like you might go, okay, I've got units that are come in from deep strikes and go for charges, and I've got 3 units and I've got a 7-inch re-rollable charge, like maybe, I don't know, Gene Stealer Cults or Demons or something like that. Where you're like, yep, that's pretty reliable. On average, I should get 2 of them in and 1 of them should fail, hypothetically, right? If that's your thing, you're like, okay, cool. So I'm going to drop them in and do this charge, and then all 3 fail, all right? You would be tempted to say, I just got unlucky. That's why I lost the game. I should have got at least 1 of them in, probably should have got 2 of them in, you know, but I got none of them. That was unlucky, and now I lost. That's not the correct way to look at it, in my opinion. I think the correct way to look at it is, I lost because I relied too heavily on those charges succeeding. I should have had plans for what happens if they fail. And obviously there is limits to this, right? Like if you play a game and you roll literally nothing but 1s, every single dice you roll is a 1, well then there's nothing you can do. You know, no amount of strategy is going to solve that. No amount of, you know, planning is going to solve that. No amount of practice is going to solve that. You know, so obviously there is an extreme where luck will dictate everything. And when you are blaming luck, sometimes the blame appropriately is assigned to luck. But what I'm suggesting is that even in those scenarios, right, where you actually are legitimately fucked by luck, the healthy way to grow and become a better player and become stronger and more formidable on the tabletop is to stop blaming luck. Even when it is luck's fault. You know, instead of blaming luck, you need to go, okay, what can I do that is, you know, that's going to make it so that that same situation isn't a big deal. So for example, you could go, okay, I often struggle to hit. I often, you know, I always feel like I roll well below average, right? There's lots of players that think that. It's really funny that most people think they roll below average, you know. But if that's the case, well, maybe you need to, instead of running, you know, your red Corsairs, maybe you need to switch and go, I'm going to run word bearers, because then I get army-wide reroll hits. You know, if you feel like that's one of the challenges that you face is poor dice rolls, you need to build in more accurate units. You know, you need to go, okay, cool, instead of taking units that are going to hit on 3s and 4s, I'm going to take things like Terminators and Chosen with Mark of Slanesh and an icon, like on the Chosen you put an icon on them, and now they're hitting on 2s, and then you can use the stratagems to get +1 to hit as well on the Terminators, get them hitting on 2s, make them word bearers so they're getting rerolls, and now you don't have to worry about fucking your hit rolls anymore. You know, hitting on 2s with full rerolls is insane. You know, so if that's a sort of direction that you can go, and then when you go that direction, you'll realize that now you can't blame your hit rolls. You're hitting everything, but you're still losing. Well, what's the challenge there? You know, and then you try and identify what the challenge is and solve that challenge. You know, maybe you're like, oh, okay, now I'm hitting well, but I'm failing my charges. Right? I just keep failing to charge, and then my opponent gets to charge me, and then they kill me. You go, okay, cool. Maybe you pivot onto Emperor's Children then. You know, and take an Emperor's Children list, because then you can use Honor the Prince to get a auto 6 on your charge roll. So 6 plus D6, you know, you're not likely to fail charges then. You know, that's another way of looking at it. So there's tons of things that are in your control that you will start to see if you stop blaming luck. Whereas if you keep blaming luck, it's like you've got blinkers on, you've got blinders on, and you actually just can't see the solutions that are actually right there, right in front of you, ready for you to use. But you're too busy getting carried away with, you know, this deferral of responsibility that is damaging your results. So yeah, that's all I really wanted to talk about today, was just the fact that there is something that I think a lot of people, even some of the top players, some of the best players I know, do this. And it's really disappointing to see, but I genuinely in my heart believe that if you stop blaming luck, just 100% make it part of your personal philosophy that you will never blame luck, you will never use those words. You will always take the responsibility. Every time you lose a game, you lost because of something that you did or didn't do that you should have or shouldn't have done, right? If you look at it through that lens, you will start to be like, well, what is that thing that I did or didn't do? If I've already accepted that it's something I did or didn't do, what was it? And then you think about it, you know, and you start thinking, well, what could I have done? What could I have done differently? You know? And then you'll start exploring all of these options, and you'll start really expanding your horizons, and you'll start becoming a much stronger player because you'll start having that real open mind. You'll start looking at list writing in a completely new light. You'll start looking at tabletop situations in a completely new light, because instead of just going, well, this is just what I do, you'll start thinking, well, hang on, is this potentially one of the things that's resulting in my losses? Is this something that I could do differently? You know. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you find yourself blaming luck relatively regularly? Do you take the personal responsibility for your losses, or you know? And what do you think about the concept of personal growth and you know, where are you at on your journey? Let's get a conversation going in the comments below, because that's one of my favorite things about this channel. The community that we've built is fantastic, and we have really good chats in the comments below. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And yeah, keep your eye on the channel. I've got a whole bunch more videos coming out soon, some really spicy character combos coming up. We've got plenty of really cool content. I've got a battle report coming up very soon with the Iron Warriors versus the Word Bearers. So we've got some really interesting content coming out. Huge thank you to the Patreon supporters. I really appreciate your, donations and your efforts to inspire me to continue going with this channel and continue improving. It's always very much appreciated. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Also, just make sure you check out my new merchandise if you want to support the channel. We've got t-shirts and apparel and bags and all that sort of stuff with Blog for the Blood God logos on it. We've also got objective markers with logos for every faction. And we've got dice coming out very soon as well with the Blog for the Blood God logo on it. So if you want to support the channel and get yourself some nice little swag, make sure you check out the links in the description and have a look at this new exciting merchandise that we've got. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Alrighty guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that video. Like I said at the start, make sure to like, subscribe and comment, and also make sure you hit that notification bell. YouTube will not feed these videos out to people if they don't hit that notification bell. So make sure you do that if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more content like it. So that being said, I'm going to leave it here. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's get a conversation going in the comments below. And also a huge shout out and a huge thank you to my supporters on Patreon. You guys are absolute fucking legends. You help keep me motivated. You help me buy new equipment so that I can continue to improve the quality and improve the quantity of videos that I'm able to get out to you guys. So thank you very much to my Patreon supporters. Thank you to all those who like, subscribe and comment. Thank you to all those who purchase my merchandise, because I get a small amount off the top of that, which I can then reinvest into doing more content and better content. So huge thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.
Blog for the Blood God.
The Warhammer community suffers from some of the most prohibitively expensive essentials in the world, especially Australian content creators. Every single day, Dean wants to create content, but he can't. Suffering from old, worn-out brushes, expensive model kits, and costly software and equipment he can't endure much longer. Just look at this dirty paint water. Would you drink this? Would you let your child? Even a small monthly donation can help provide Dean with clean paint water, basic tools for survival, and access to life-saving information and education. So please, follow the links in the description below and find out how you can sponsor a mad cunt like Dean today and end the suffering. Suffering that is cruel, unsustainable, and your fault.
Do your objective markers ever get lost behind terrain or other models and become difficult to see? Do they ever get bumped and accidentally moved during a game? And do they ever spark arguments about distances? Well, not anymore. Introducing the Blog for the Blood God, not even remotely patented neoprene objective markers. Made from the same material as astronaut suits, or maybe military equipment, or probably neither of those things, this 2mm thick neoprene synthetic rubber is tear resistant, water resistant, and is designed to last. But that's not all. The Blog for the Blood God, not even remotely patented neoprene objective markers come in a variety of different designs and styles to suit any faction represented in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. These objective markers are a perfect gift for yourself or a friend, and are a perfect way to flex and show your opponent that not only are you a smarter, cooler, and better 40k player than them, but you also have more disposable income than they do. For the low price of $25, you'll get not one, not two, but 6 neoprene objective markers, perfectly designed for 9th edition Warhammer 40k. But wait, there's more. For a limited time only, people who sign up on Patreon to support Blog for the Blood God as a Skull Champion tier $5 per month member will gain access to a custom design service where I will design a unique logo to support their gaming club, like the one I did to the left here for the Potato Farmers local gaming club here in Melbourne. Follow the links in the description of this video to pick up your set today.